Welcome to the Toy Rewind Podcast with your hosts, the Brothers Newland. Now, let's talk toys.
And hello, everybody. I'm Michael.
I'm John.
And I'm Andrew, and you're listening to the Toy Rewind Podcast. This is episode 113. It still amazes me every week that we get one higher number than the week before, which is how numbering works. But, you know, we're still going. It still just amazes me. So,
yeah, I went back just real quick. I went back and checked Dorksman. They did make it to 140, so I was wrong.
Yeah, I was about to say I thought they made it to 140.
Yeah.
But you know,
we talked about that a couple episodes ago. But yeah,
we have 140 episodes scheduled. So and we haven't even got all of our list scheduled. We just have up to that point scheduled. So yeah, we should be able to beat them. No worries. If they're still listening, sorry guys.
I had 4 more to that list. So.
Well, there we go. So that. Yeah, sorry guys, we're gonna beat you. Yeah, so you're listening to the Toy Rewind Podcast, episode 113. This is a little place where the three of us like to get together and talk about toy lines from our childhood and just old retro classic toys. This week we rewind back to 1983. It's a really good year, guys. Really good year. We're gonna talk about how Mattel kind of was dominating. But really, this is just the year they released Jace and the Wheeled Warriors. Another one that what?
Actually, it's 90. It's 85, and it's just
85. Why do
it's just Wheeled Warriors? It's not Jace and the Wheeled Warriors.
Why do I have Jace and the Wheeled Warriors?
Jace and the Wheeled Warriors was the cartoon that they came up with at the.
Yeah, it's
I don't know what to say.
It's all in the notes. Well, yeah.
All right. Well,
we're gonna
get into that. We'll get into all that with the stuff. But we're gonna talk about Wheeled Warriors that came out in '85. So not as well, still a decent year, but yeah.
I don't know where you got 83 from.
Is that the year the cartoon came out? Did the cartoon come out earlier?
No.
I don't know. I'm gonna look it up while John does his thing here.
All right. While Andrew's getting all that information situated, check our websites over at toyrewindpodcast.com or crossthestreamsmedia.com. If you're on Cross the Streams, of course, leave us a message, voice message. Just go down the bottom, click the little microphone. You can leave us one. You can email us at toyrewindpodcast@gmail.com. Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch is all Toy Rewind Pod. Facebook and YouTube is Toy Rewind Podcast. And then, of course, if you want to play a little bingo game while you're listening to us, go to podcastbingo.com/Toy Rewind.
All right, I think that'd be already found it.
Okay.
The virtual toy chest has it listed as 83. Also has it listed as Jason the Wheeled Warriors. So who knows? My bad. Michael will correct me. He is the professor.
We'll get into that at the end of the segment here.
Yeah, so we got that. So I guess since I've already screwed it up, let's just get into it.
All right, the 80s.
You guys ready? It's part of the 80s. It was, it was all good. So all right, let's rewind and get into it.
All right. So this was called Wheeled Warriors. It's the name of this toy line. Wheeled Warriors. It was produced by Mattel in 1985. The line consisted of only 8 vehicles, 2 motorized walkers, and there was a play set, and there was 2 accessory packs to go with the vehicles. So each toy in the line came with its own accessory parts, such as weapons and different kind of wheels, and they were all interchangeable. And had an easy connecting system. So they just kind of, so the vehicles itself had little holes, and then the accessories would just snap in. They have like a little 2-prong thing section that you just plug it into the hole, and you can interchange it to wherever you want it on the vehicle. It didn't have to go in a certain spot, and it was just something part of the gimmick of the line was you can kind of change it up. If it had a gun on top, you could take it off and put it on the side, and you can put something else on top. So you can kind of it's all interchangeable, and you can change the parts from vehicle to vehicle. It didn't necessarily have to go on that one vehicle that it came with. So it was all interchangeable. Like most lines of the 80s, there was two sides. You had a good guys, you had the bad guys. The good guys were called Lightning League, and the bad guys were called Monster Minds. So each one, they had 4 vehicles each, and since there was 2 walkers, each side had a walker. It was just like a four-legged motorized walker thing. And then each one had its own accessory pack. So it was just extra wheels, extra weapons and stuff that came that you could get and put in with the other whatever vehicle you wanted to. So the Lightning League vehicles were styled similar, kind of like a Mad Max type vehicles. Mad Max was big in the mid 80s. So that was kind of like that. And they all came with a generic driver. So the drivers kind of looked all the same. The only difference between them was the hair color. And, they were like 2 inches tall, similar kind of like mask figures, about like that. The articulation was the same. The legs moved and their shoulder, where the arms moved at the shoulder, and that's about it. They were just twist. No, they didn't twist. They didn't have no like facial features or anything. It was just a generic driver. All their suits were the same color, like a brown color. But there was 4 different drivers. You had a blonde driver, you had a redhead driver, you had a brown-headed driver, and you had a black-haired driver. So they were all looked the same. The Monster Minds were kind of plant-based, and they had the vehicles had like vines and stuff growing on them. And then they kind of had some kind of beast-looking face to them. So when the cockpit closed, it had eyes on the side of it, and it was a solid color, so you couldn't see inside there. But they had little eyes and little teeth features, and they had vines and stuff growing up. So it looked more organic as a vehicle. The actual drivers for these were like little rubber brain looking things, slugs looking things. They look like a brain with some kind of electronic parts inside, computer parts in them. They were all the same. They were kind of like a army green color. It was off green. It was just they were all exactly the same.
It's definitely army green.
Yeah. But it just kind of looks like a that one in the picture just looks like somebody's big toe or something. I don't know. They were just little slug looking things. What it was, it looked like a brain. If you want to say that.
Wait a minute. And I know this is a podcast. If you're listening to this, sorry, go over to our YouTube and look at this. But Michael, what do you see as a big toe? I don't see a big toe.
the right corner of that picture you're looking at. That big green
that thing down there. I thought that was just a big turd or something. What is that?
It's the brain.
It's the brain of the vehicle, the driver that you put inside there and you close. Yeah. So, they all of them look the same. They're all the same. Let's see. So you had, the 4 good guy, the 4 cars, everything had a name. So the good side, the Lightning League vehicles, you had Armed Force, which was the leader. You had Drill Sergeant, which was said it was called the Escape Artist. It had a drill piece to it. You had Quick Draw, and that's the weapon expert of the group. And you had Spike Trike, which was a scout type vehicle. And then the Walker was Trailblazer was the name of it. It was a combat stalker. I'll get into the walkers here a little bit more here in a minute. And then you had your monster minds, the bad guys. You had the Saul boss, which was the tyrant leader. And you had Gun Grinner, who was an enforcer. KO Cruiser was a demolitions expert, and then you had Terror Tank, which was it said cannibal on the packaging, but it's
just random cannibal. He's a cannibal.
They needed something the opposite of a scout, so I guess that's what they did.
If he's a cannibal, does that mean he eats his people?
Probably, yeah.
Somebody didn't think about that.
No, they didn't. This was the 80s, so. Then the walker, the four-legged motorized walker, was called Beast Walker. It was a combat creature, was the name of it. This also came with a battle base for the Lightning League. It was a mobile fighting fortress. This was the playset of the set. It was a big battle base for the Lightning League. When closed, it was kind of a carry case as well. But it was a big kind of block, brick-looking thing, and it had tracks on it like army tank tracks. But then you open it up, and it revealed inner ramps and cranes, and then other features for use by the vehicles and drivers. The set included a lot of accessories that used. And one thing about the playset and the walkers, the accessories didn't fit the vehicles because they had a smaller. The connectors that are on the vehicles were a little bit bigger, a little bit longer, and the playset and the walkers had shorter ones, so they didn't quite fit on the vehicles. So let's see. And a lot of the accessories were kind of recolors of what was on the walkers as well. So, but some of them were similar to the vehicles. They were just different colors. And so let's go back to the walkers real quick. They were motorized. Each one had like a ramp and a flatbed car carrier on the back of it. That way you can kind of drive your vehicle up on top of it and sit on top of the walker while the walker walked across your floor or whatever. And again, the weapons and accessories were not compatible to the vehicles due to the pegs being shorter. The accessory packs came with recolored weapons and extra wheels, as well as 2 extra drivers. So the Victory Pack, which was the Lightning League, exchangeable extras is what they called that one. The Victory Pack, it came with 2 extra just generic drivers. Just depending on what hair color you got, but they all look the same, just the hair was different colors. And then the Attack Pack was for the monsters. It had 2 extra little brains in there, so they all look the same too. So some of the issues, there's not much to these. Like I said, it's the 6 vehicles, the 2 walkers, the motorized walkers, your big play set, which was pretty decent size. It was a big size set. And then you had the 2 accessories pack. So there was some issues with this line. So one, the line advertised a stack and attack feature, which you can break these vehicles down all the way to the chassis and change out everything else. You can make it. It comes with little extras, so you can make the stand up like a 4-wheel drive, a little bit taller, stuff like that. So you can actually pop all that off and stack the vehicles on top of each other. But the only problem was only one had the peg holes aligned properly. So you had so that one was always on the bottom. So it was supposed to be you just whichever ones you want. But this one, it was the where I got it wrote down. Yeah, the Armed Force, the leader of the group. He's the only one that had his holes on top aligned right for everything to stack on top of it. And then you can only stack one on top, but it was supposed to be multiples. You could stack multiples, but they didn't line the holes up right, so you couldn't do that. So any of the other three could sit on top of that one.
So like this one, I don't know which two. I mean, I guess it's the commander or the leader and
Yeah, that bottom one
sergeant,
is
drill sergeant.
Yeah, the bottom one that you're looking at in the picture is armed force, and then the one on top, is the drill sergeant. Yeah.
Okay.
He just doesn't have his drill on that vehicle, but like I said, you could change it out, interchangeable parts, all that kind of stuff. So that was the only issue they had with that stacking, that it didn't even work. You always had the same one underneath it, and then encouraging swapping the pieces between the vehicles led to trying to remember which one actually goes with what vehicle. Because you go back now, if you're looking for these online or whatever to buy some, you're not guaranteed that it's the right parts that go with that vehicle that you're buying, because everything gets jumbled up. They start looking the same. You don't know what color. If you got one that's multiple, if you're looking for a complete set, you don't know if a black piece goes to that, or if it's a chrome piece that's supposed to go with it. And there's not as much research out there as, say, G.I. Joe or Transformers with all the weapons and stuff.
Right.
So,
but like, just saying, if people go to the YouTube, they can see the picture that Andrew just pulled up. It had multiple color wheels, so it had gold wheels and silver wheels. There's only 2 vehicles that came with gold wheels.
Yeah.
So we know that the gold wheels only go with those 2 vehicles, unless you got the gold wheels in one of the packs.
Yeah, the accessory packs came with different colored wheels. So you don't know. Yeah, you don't know what goes to what. I mean, there's so much stuff. Once you get them all jumbled up, if you don't remember, then you're just tough out of luck of knowing what's what. So,
but is that part of the fun with this? Is being able to switch them all in and out?
Yeah, I mean, that was what they encouraged you to do. But if you're a completist and wants everything together that's supposed to be together,
they never made that log saying this is what is all with this.
And something else different. If you read the back cards, it tells you what weapons go with it. But some of these are the same weapons on other vehicles are the same, but they name them differently from vehicle to vehicle. It could be the exact same piece, but it's called something different with another. Like one could be a missile on one piece on one vehicle, and you get the same piece on another vehicle, and it's called a bomb or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
something
I mean
like
it's I don't know the technical name. I didn't write all the technical names down, but they didn't. The back of the packaging did not name the same pieces the exact same from vehicle to vehicle. So it's just weird.
And I don't think they had anything really specified on the way the wheels looked either, because all the wheels, they have so many different types.
Yeah, they're all. It doesn't look like any of the cars actually, or any of them. Well, I guess these kind of come with the same, but I was like, it didn't look like there was any that were the same. You just kind of got whatever.
If you got a
2
vehicle,
of each, it looks like.
Yeah, if you got a vehicle that had 2 sets of wheels on it, and they all came with an extra set. All 3 sets are completely different. There's none that are exactly the same.
Yeah.
So if you want 4 matching wheels, you gotta find something from another vehicle to match them up. Or it's just weird. They didn't.
Or you got to buy 2.
Well,
gotta buy
you
2
have to buy 2. Well, because when you buy one, you get extra parts already.
Yeah.
So. Because that's one of the other gimmicks they did is they give you extra parts, so you want to buy that other one.
The whole thing is buying the extras to get the extra pieces to interchange, make it however you want it to look. You put all the same weapons on one, or you can put different weapons. I mean, it's completely So, the biggest issue. This only lasted one series. Like I said,
you got 8 cars, 8 cars,
the 8 vehicles, the 2 motorized walkers, and the 2 extra packs. So
and the
accessory
battle
packs.
base.
And the battle
And
base.
the battle base. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the biggest reason why this thing didn't do so well, because back in the 80s, you had a cartoon that kind of went along with the toy line and sold it. Transformers, G.I. Joe, Masters of the Universe. That was the first one that actually got to go and sell and that was Mattel. So Mattel knew what to do with the toy line and make the cartoon to go with the toy line to build a storyline behind it and the characters and all this. Well, the only problem is they wanted a cartoon for the series, but they just had generic drivers, and it was just vehicles. So what kind of story could you do?
There's no story there
with the vehicles. Yeah. So they went with they asked DIC, which we talked about them last week, to make this cartoon. And so they came up with an idea. And the idea was completely had nothing to do with the toy line itself, pretty much. The only thing that was in common was the vehicles showed up every once in a while. And that's it. And the bad guy's name is Sawboss, but in the cartoon, but Sawboss in the toy line is just a vehicle. It's the name of the vehicle. But they made an actual character called Sawboss that could control these vehicles. That it made no sense.
But so in the first one, he turns into the vehicle.
No, he can control it with his mind. And it's just completely weird. So the cartoon is named Jason the Wheeled Warriors. That's where the confusion comes by.
Hey, I thought that was the name of the toy line.
Yeah, that's what everybody thinks. It's not. Wheeled Warriors is the name of the toy line. The cartoon is Jason the Wheel. And you get to looking at the logo on the cartoon, and it says Wheeled Warriors in the stylizing of what the toy line has, and it says Jace in a completely different style. So it doesn't even match the styling of the name of the toy line anyway.
It's like what was it? Marvel does it. They take one character with another character and they say they add them together for a single show or something.
Yeah.
And the two logos completely are not the same on the main logo.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like having Superman versus Batman, and then you have it's two different fonts going on. That's kind of like what this is. So
what's
up
with the skunk hair?
So what now? What?
So, what's up with the skunk hair?
I don't know.
They took this in a whole you've got the Wheeled Warriors, which is like the future, and like this font that's like it's like metal, right? It's there, yeah. But then Jace and Thee is written in this,
It looks like, and if you look at some of the characters, it's like medieval times. Yeah,
yeah,
it's like medieval times. So you have Jace. He looks like he's kind of a knight
with skunk hair,
like that. He has his little robot-looking buddy down there, which I'll get to in a minute. He's dressed up like a squire, and then there's a wizard in here like Merlin, So they kind of took that, and then they're in outer space. So it's like medieval times in outer space, and then they have another guy that they kind of recruited or kind of tricked him into helping them. He's kind of like a Han Solo type guy. So he's like, it's just completely different than what the toy line it was supposed to be. So anyway, like I said, the cartoon had nothing in common with the toy line. The cartoon added characters such as a hero named Jace, and there was a wizard named Gillian, and there was a flower that was developed into a humanoid and had telepathic powers with other plant-based and some animal-based people, and her name was Flora. And then Un was an eternal squire, is what he was. He was some kind of robot-looking guy that served Jace. He's kind of like Orko on Masters of the Universe.
Does he always
with
screw
He-Man.
up?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
supposed
and
to be. He's supposed to be like brave and stuff, but he's scared of everything.
Yeah.
So he's not what he's supposed to be. You know.
Okay,
So
John, do you know much about this cartoon?
I just about what Michael probably knows because
Okay,
I watch the
okay.
same stuff.
So I'm gonna. Do you know how many episodes the cartoon was? And
yes,
all I want is yes or no.
yes. We
John.
know how many.
John.
Oh, John. Okay.
John.
Somewhat.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
Because I just, based off of this, I want to take a guess and see if I can guess how many episodes there were.
Okay.
But if you already know it, because I was gonna be like, you guess, I'll guess, we'll see who gets closer. But if you already
guess,
know,
and then I'll throw my number out, and then Michael will correct us because I don't think I have the right number.
I feel like there were 13 episodes. Now the question is, did all 13 episodes actually air?
I'd say 64. Michael,
There were 65 episodes, and they all did. They all did air. 65 episodes.
I couldn't remember 64 or 65. I was like, I didn't write that down. So
Yeah.
but,
So they had
Hey.
They had a full season
Full season, yes.
back then.
And
I
it
just
was-
figured they would have started and it wouldn't have like gone anywhere, so they ended it.
And it was a weekday.
Yeah.
Every day of the week is when it aired.
So basically, this ran for 3 months,
yes, yeah, pretty much.
2.5 months.
So it was 65 episodes. It was aired weekdays from September 16th of 1985 to December 16th of 1985. Is
Okay.
when they aired
4
it.
months.
Yeah. So so the plot of the cartoon. Let's go through the plot since it has nothing to do with the cars, the vehicles. So the plot of the cartoon was Jace was searching. There was one more character real quick we didn't get to. You had Herc Storm Sailor is the guy. He's like the Han Solo type, and he was kind of conned into helping because he actually had a ship because they were trying to get off this planet before the monsters got them. Yeah, the monster minds got on it, and so there happened to be a ship going across, and they pulled it. The wizard pulled it down, and they kind of conned them into helping them get off the planet, and then they somehow the
no, what?
go ahead.
You
John.
still got to tell them why they're conning this guy into it.
Well,
What all happened prior to that is part
Yeah.
of the backstory, but I mean,
but anyway, so they get his ship down. Well, they con him and say we got to get off this planet, and the battle base actually gets put on top of his ship and kind of just magically attaches to his ship just perfectly, retrofits itself right to the ship, so it just kind of goes with the ship. So the big plot of it, I'm not gonna get into everything that gets into it, but the big plot of it was Jace is searching for his father, who sent him half of a route that, combined with the other half, which his father still has, will destroy the monster mines, which is led by Saw Boss, who is not the vehicle Saw Boss from the toy line, but can control the vehicles from the toy line. So it gets all confusing right there. So this is what I don't understand is his father, he was sitting on the planet waiting for his father to show up, and then they were going to go off or whatever. And instead of that, he sends Un to find Jace, and he brought him half of this route to get rid of the monster mines. But the dad already had both parts of the route to start off with. Why didn't he just get rid of the monster mines then? Instead of sending half of it to his son, and he has half of it, and then Jace, his son, has to go find them so they can reconnect them to get rid of monster mines. Why doesn't the dad just do it right then when he has both sides together, both halves together?
but he also created them at the same time that he sent Jace.
Well, yeah. What had happened was he was creating these plants, and then a supernova happened, and and at the time, these plants were getting created for, I guess it was for food or something for the galaxy. I can't remember exactly what it was for, but when the supernova exploded, all the radiation combined with the plants being produced at that time made them into monsters. That's what it was. But he had the root to get rid of them right then before they grew to be strong. And instead, he cuts it in half. He takes half of it. He sends Un with the other half to his son and says, "Hey, come find me. We'll connect them. Then we'll get rid of." Why don't he just get rid of them right then? So this cartoon makes no sense from the very beginning.
There's more holes in this plot line for this cartoon than there is my fishing net outside.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
I know you mentioned this, Michael. Who did Mattel get to do the cartoon for him?
DIC. And that's who we talked about last week.
Yeah. I heard you say that. And I couldn't remember if that's what you actually said or if I was just making something up in my head.
No, they're the same ones that did Street Sharks.
So apparently they learned something before they got to Street Sharks.
Well, Mattel just came and say, "Hey, make us a cartoon for these vehicles." And so they had to come up with something. But
oh my god,
they could have came up with something without all these plot holes. That makes no sense. So anyway, so pretty much where the vehicles come in is Jace and his crew drive the vehicles from the toy line when they put them into the cartoon. They drive them when they're searching different planets looking for his dad, and they're trying to avoid the monster mines because they're controlling the bad vehicles after them. And so they just the vehicles just make an appearance every so often in the show for a few minutes in the show, and that's it. So there's really not anything that ties the line to the cartoon. So yeah,
other than the vehicles show up in there occasionally.
Yeah, and they had to make the vehicles look like the toy line, but that was it. So
right.
So the toys. They came with a mini comic, but the mini comic had no, similar to Motu.
It was like a mini comic or comet.
Comic.
That was funny.
Yeah, but but when you open the comic, there's no overarching storyline to them other than just the fact that you have Lightning League and you have the monsters and the monster minds, and that they were good and bad. That's really all you have in that comic. Is that there's nothing that ties that into the cartoon. There's nothing that has any storyline really to it. It just says, "Hey, here's your good guys, here's your bad guys, and they're fighting each other." That's it. So, this line they actually did develop a second series for this that had the actual drivers that resembled the characters from the cartoon, but it never made it to production. So they produced the toy line, they put it out, and then they said, "Hey, we need a cartoon," and they made a cartoon after the toy line was actually out on the shelves. So that didn't help either. No, you kind of got to do it simultaneously, or you put the cartoon out and introduce the toy line at the beginning of the cartoon or something, So,
a cartoon with a plot without plot holes and that a plot makes sense also helps.
Yes, exactly. So a couple of the stuff that was developed but wasn't produced for the second series. This was supposed to have been released in 1986. So you had there was two more carrying cases come in. You had Thunderstruction, which was like an environment set. You had Thunderstruction vehicle set, which was the same thing, but it came with Armed Force. Let's see. You had some more vehicles. You had a Fling Shot, which was a long range marksman. It came with the Hurt figure, the Hurt Storm Sailor. That's a name too. Hurt Storm Sailor. Trying to be like Han Solo, I guess.
Right.
The spray gunner was a marine machine that came with Jace. Grim Creeper was a Monster Mines battle spy. Brutos was Monster Mine. It was a hurler, so I guess it might have like a catapult or something with it. There was 2 more motorized expansion packs. One for Lightning League. It was a one came with Jace, and then there was a Monster Mines power pack. There was some Zoggies. I have no other. Zoggies, Zoggis. I have. Oh, it's a wind-up pet. Oh, the Zoggies were in the cartoon. That's what it was. They were like some kind of alien dogs or something. I think is what it was in the cartoon. So I guess like doggies, Zoggies, not doggies. So they had those. They were wind-up. You had Run-A-Mutt, Revel-Mutt, and Scraps. A couple more adventure packs with Jace, Flora, Oon, and Gillian. It reminds me of Gilligan. That's what it reminds me
As I
of.
say, I thought you were trying to say Gillian.
He's the wizard, so he's like Merlin. He's like a crazy Merlin kind of guy. And then you had a Herc Storm Sailor. His description was a cocky star pilot, is what it says. And then you had Saul Boss, which was the Monster Mines leader. So those were figures that they had. So they were supposed to come out with all this stuff, and it never happened because they just, I guess, since the cartoon had nothing to do with the toy line, it just kind of it fizzled out. But they had to have sold, because if you go through, and I've seen some of this stuff at the toy shows and stuff, I found just oddball bags of just weapons and stuff. You see these pieces, all these accessories in with all this other stuff that nobody has any idea what it goes to. There's a lot of this stuff out there. So it's not like it didn't sell well. It's just, it wasn't promoted right with the cartoon. Yeah. And on top of that, we did have 1 or 2 of these as well, because I remember having these weapons.
Oh, we did?
Yeah. I recognize when I brought it up, was looking at the pictures when we started researching this a couple weeks ago. I do remember having a lot of these weapons laying around. I don't know what happened to the vehicles. I don't remember which vehicles we had, but we had some of these weapons. I said, "Oh, those all look familiar." Yeah, so we did have some of these. But,
John, do you remember them?
I remember I could see the weapons. I don't remember seeing everything else. But that is,
I don't remember these at all. So you probably must have destroyed them by the time I got old enough to even touch a toy.
Probably, because that's what I did. But that's probably why. I mean, that's
probably why Michael doesn't know what happened to the cars.
Probably so. Yeah.
Don't get into that, John. We're gonna get into that in a second. Don't get there. Let's talk about collecting these. Michael, you said you've seen some of these like pieces for the extra stuff inside of bags, assortment bags or whatever, the
accessories and weapons and stuff. One other thing about these, the weapons, they had the connectors on the weapons that you plugged into the vehicle. So when you take like a missile off, it still has this peg on the side of the missile. Whereas if you look at like G.I. Joe, when you pull the missiles off the planes or something, the peg is actually on the plane that you plug the missile into, not plugging, not on the missile. The peg is on the missile itself. So it's kind of weird if you want to pretend you're shooting a missile, then you have this obtrusive piece.
It's how you hold it. That's how you hold it. So
right, but with G.I. Joe, you can just throw it.
Yeah,
and then you can attach it right back on.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so if you were looking on a e-commerce site that happened to be on the internet, that maybe where you could bid on them to get things, and you were looking for the random figures, the blonde and black brown haired guys, right? You could probably get them for $16. Not too bad, right?
The guys?
The guys. That's 2 of them. Yeah. $16. If you want a vehicle be prepared to open your wallet.
They're expensive.
The cheapest ones that I can find, which doesn't look like they are put together, like
Probably
they are
not.
actually all there. It's just parts of them. $60.
And you can't confirm that they're all there.
I cannot confirm. Like, and they don't say. They just it's a lot.
It could be missing pieces, or it could be extra pieces in there, and it could be even the wrong pieces. They don't even go with that vehicle. Yeah.
The full-on figures, I didn't see any of them for less than 80, and most of them are 150 to 200. If you want to buy, this is one of the it's the attack pack, because I don't know if this one just says it says Monster Minds attack pack.
Yeah, the attack pack was Monster. Yeah.
$65.
Just for the accessories is $65.
Yes. Now guaranteed, this one is unopened.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. It is or whatever. The best deal that I can find was actually on the base. Now this doesn't look like it comes with any of the extra pieces for the base. It's just the base, and it was $50.
Just a shell.
Just the shell of it.
With no extra accessories or anything.
No extra accessories. I will give them this. These are really cool pieces. John, I think you were about to say that you like these pieces.
Yeah, I like the pieces as long as you do not incorporate cartoon.
Yeah. John, you've got that up. How much are we talking one of these selling for?
All right, so I found it up. Yes, I have it written down, so you don't have to worry about reading it.
Okay, and this is selling for them in 1985.
Yeah, this is 1985. I pulled up all three catalogs, and they're in all three catalogs: the Sears, Montgomery Ward, and J.C. Penney's. Now, if you want a good deal on them, you would be going to J.C. Penney's. No, you wouldn't go to J.C. Penney's. You'd be going to Montgomery Ward or Sears. J.C. Penney's has them all, like Armed Force was $949. All the vehicles were $949. The Battle Base was $39.99. The robotic ones, the Trailblazer and Beast Walker, were $26.99. Now you go to Montgomery Ward and Sears, and they're selling all the vehicles for $7.99. All right.
Wait. $7.99. That's $22.25 today.
Okay. And then the Battle Base was $29.99, $10 less than Sears or JCPenney. Sorry, I'm getting these confused.
Here's the big difference. You said $10 difference, so $29.99 is $84. $39.99, $112 today.
Wow, so $10, $20 now.
$20.
The Walkers were $22.99.
So that's $63.
Yeah. So Montgomery Ward and Sears had the same price, but Sears did not have Spike Trike on their pictures or anything like that, nor their list. So if you wanted to get all of them, you had to go to Montgomery Ward to get the right pricing.
My thought on the price on these. Obviously, we're going to Montgomery Ward because we want to get the better price. And these are well priced.
Yeah, I mean, for what you got and the size of them, I mean, being able to take them apart, rebuild them, do everything. I mean, exactly what I would try to do, anyways, to all of our toys.
But I mean, even like looking at what they sold for then, that value now, I would expect that base to be $85 to $100 now.
Right.
So for it to be $20 or $30 to $40, that's not terrible, to be honest.
Michael,
I wasn't spending that much money back in mid 80s, but you know, mom and dad can justify. I don't know, but it just seems like compared to prices now that they kind of line up.
So I think the Battle Base had 18 or 17. Maybe I'm off a little bit, but like
something
accessories
like that
and stuff.
On the accessories, yeah. They had almost 20 pieces, yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't 20. It was I think it was under 20, but
It was
I think
it was
18.
under 20. Yeah.
So, but like I said, being able to take these apart, put them back together, I could completely understand why mom and dad would buy these, especially for me. I mean, Michael was into cars already, so yes, he probably got some because they were vehicles.
Well, they kind of fit in, like I said, with with the figures were about the same size as the mask figures. So they kind of, and I had several mask vehicles, so it kind of fit in with that aspect of my play back then. So yeah, but
But I could definitely see
we're at that
losing the
spot.
pieces too.
Where do we rank these guys at? Michael, where do you rank?
I like this. If you take the cartoon aspect out,
we're not talking about the cartoon. We're done with
we
that.
talk about toys.
It has nothing to do with anything, and it makes no sense. So I'm gonna put these number 2 for me.
Number 2, John.
I was actually going to go number 3.
Well, nothing beats your Beetlejuice, so we got that. I was actually going to go number 2. Also, I like these more than the Foo Fighters. These don't beat my Street Sharks, but I like these more than the Foo Fighters because these are awesome looking cars. Like, just that. I think they're freaking awesome. For me, this is a surprise toy line. I was not prepared to be surprised with this toy line. I think Michael remembers a little bit more about them, having had them or whatever. Before we popped this on the list, did you really remember these, Michael?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I remembered. I remembered it. I don't remember. We never watched the cartoon. Maybe we realized how stupid it was back then too.
Real quick, we figured that out.
Yeah. And I'm kind of glad they didn't make this second series because it incorporated a lot of the figures and stuff from the and I don't know if the figures from the cartoon were the same size as your normal drivers from this first series or not.
It'd be hard to get the detail in them.
Yeah, they were just and then like I said, the Zoggies. Those are wind-up pets, so they're going to be bigger. They're probably going to be about the size. They were probably the same size as the Walkers from the first series. So I don't think that any of that would have fit in with the toy line really. So I'm glad that the second series never got produced. They just had a list of what they were going to do, but they had some prototypes and stuff, which I didn't see any pictures of prototypes. But I'm glad they didn't do the second series because it wouldn't have tied in at all with it would have been a completely different line look to it than the first series.
And I feel like it would have hurt the toy line.
It would have been so much confusion.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would have really cared of it either anyway to make it go any further anyhow.
This is definitely one that if I'm at a toy show and see some of these, I may pick one up.
I was thinking about picking up one or two for when I get back to doing the Motoring Mondays because it would fit right in with that theme. But looking at the prices, I might have to hold off or see if I can find definitely somewhere else other than Evil Bay there.
Yeah, it's definitely one that we're gonna want to find at a toy at a show that you get a good price at, like not just one you're buying off of, like I said, Evil Bay, but just one that maybe you find at a show and it happens to have a good price. So I don't know if I'm shelling out $60 to $70 on these, but they're kind of cool. They're not Turtles or Batman, so
in the box I might.
If they were if they were packaged still in the packaging, it would $60-$70 is about normal with a lot of that stuff from that time period still being boxed, or actually that may be about a little bit cheaper. But with it loose and not knowing if you have all the pieces or nothing, I would still say $30-$40 at the most, but they're going higher than that.
for me, they're not Turtles or Batman, so it's not
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not shelling out that kind of money for them. So, you know, but they are cool looking. They are pretty cool looking. So
Yeah.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about with the Wheeled Warriors? I almost said Jason the Wheeled Warriors, and I was like, no, just the Wheeled Warriors. Anything you guys want to add?
Nope. I'm surprised all 65 episodes got aired for Jason the Wheeled Warriors, but
I am too. Like I said, my number was 13. So, you know.
And you didn't think that all 13 got aired, huh?
I didn't even think all 13 got aired. It's horrible. Well, you've been listening to episode 113 of the Toy Rewind podcast. We talked about the Wheeled Warriors and some guy named Jace, who was an idiot, apparently.
Actually, I think his dad was stupid. He was a genius botanist or whatever, but he couldn't think of go ahead and killing the monster mines with the root while he had it in his hand instead of cutting it in half.
Kind of sounds like Bushroot from Darkwing Duck. He's a genius botanist, but he's kind of an idiot evil villain. Be sure you check out Cross Streams Media and Toy Rewind podcast. We have actually just added something new to the website last week after we kind of went through and talked about all the different companies that we've talked about. We have a listing of all the companies and how many times we've talked about them. Sadly, Mattel gets another one. Well, not sadly. DIC would get another one if we talked about the cartoons. But Mattel's getting another notch on their belt here and puts them at sorry, I didn't have it pulled up. I wasn't thinking about it. Blah blah blah. Mattel puts them at 16 times that they have come up as far as the toy line. So be sure to check it out. You can go to toyrewindpodcast.com and just look at the tracker up in the list. You can see all the different companies we talked about.
Mattel, Kenner, and Hasbro. Is that the
Mattel, Kenner, and Hasbro?
Kenner's at 13.
Top 3, yeah. Okay.
Hasbro's at 11.
Yeah.
Dude,
so what?
You have it done by ABC.
It's alphabet. It's alphabet. There's a few. There's a little bit of work I got to do.
I was looking at it. I was like, wow.
It was just kind of a throw together in a few minutes last week. So be sure you check that out. Also go to crossstreamsmedia.com. Check out all our sister partner podcasts. I don't know what they are anymore. Go, if you're there, you can drop us a line with a voicemail when you hit our page. If you'd like to let us know what you think about the podcast, any toy lines you'd like to talk about or hear about. So we'd love to hear what you think about them. And with that, this has been the Wheeled Warriors. Thanks for listening. And on behalf of the Brothers Newland at the Toy Rewind podcast, play on.
You've been listening to the Toy Rewind podcast. Follow and join in the conversations at toyrewindpodcast.com.